Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we'll be reviewing Leota's Garden. This book has 423 pages and 24 chapters. So this book has themes surrounding family estrangement, children estrangement, redemption, reconciliation between family members, and also a controversial topic, that is euthanasia. I hope I pronounced that right. Anyway, for all those that don't know what euthanasia is, it is the act of helping someone to pass on to the afterlife without their permission. For example, in a coma, and then a medical assistant or a doctor would just give the person an overdose of a particular drug to his mother, in simple terms, but it just has a fancier name because it is done mostly in the hospitals, sometimes with the patient's permission and sometimes without the patient's permission. So in this book we have several characters. The main character here is Leota, who is an old grandmother, and she has two children, George and Eleanor, who are very neglective of their mother because they feel as though the mother never took care of them when they were younger, which was actually not true, being that Leota's mother-in-law, that is her children's grandmother, poisoned the children's mind against her. So her kids don't really like her, and that's the reason why they neglect her. So she's an old lady living alone. Then Eleanor has two children, Michael and Annie. Annie is more considerate, and she has always wanted to have a relationship with her grandmother, although her mother tries her best to stop that every single time. So another character is Fred, who is Nora's husband and Annie's stepfather. We also have Sam, who is a man that met God after making so many mistakes in life. Then a college student called Coban, who has ideas that all people should not rely on their children or young people to take care of them. So the government has to build nursing homes where they can be locked away and kept away from public eye, so that they wouldn't be burdens on their younger children. In the opening chapter, it shows where Coban was told by a professor to try to get to know older people at a personal level, so that he'll be able to understand what their needs are and how they can make retirement homes more comfortable for elderly people. So he was connected to Leota, who is a very offhandish kind of person, just because of what she has gone through in life. Her husband fought in World War II and came back and was never the same person again. She always had issues with her mother-in-law and her father-in-law too, although at the end of the day, when the mother-in-law was about to die, they reconciled and all. So Annie started having feelings towards her grandmother, in the sense that she started defying her mother and going to visit her grandmother to create a bond, like a relationship with her. So she became quite close to her grandmother, to the dismay of her own mother, that is Nora. Nora has always held resentment against her mother, deep resentment. She doesn't like her mother. That is the essential truth about the matter. And then her elder brother George is just very nonchalant about his mother. He doesn't really care whether she's there. He's just always after money and how to take care of his own life. So now after Annie started taking care of her, they became very close, and then she brought a kind of joy to Leota's life. When Leota was younger, she had a garden which she used to heal her soul and to always think about things that were going on in her life at that particular time. But the children hated the garden because they thought that was what was taking their mother away from them. So when the mother got sick, she had a stroke one day. She was the only one in the house. Coban was the one that found her. So they took her to the hospital and they told her that she would need a full-time caregiver. So Annie decided to become a full-time caregiver, and this is a very tough job for everybody who has taken care of their grandparents. You know that taking care of an elderly person, even when they are not sick, is a very, very hard job, and you have to, you know, be very patient and know how to calm them, soothe them, and all that. So I really give kudos to this young 18-year-old girl for giving up her, not her life in essential, but giving up majority of her time to take care of her grandmother when her parents, that is her mother, didn't even care. And at this point, the mother became jealous of the relationship her own daughter had with her mother, and she always still kept pushing her mother away, despite the fact that the mother always kept the door open to come to talk about things that had hurt her in the past. So when she had a stroke, that was when Eleanor realized that her mother may die soon. So she tried all her best to kind of reconnect with her mother, but old resentments kept popping up, and every single time Eleanor will snap and become very angry because of things she thought had been done to her, which were actually not real, in the sense that because after the World War II, when they just gave birth to Eleanor, when her father came back from the war, he lost a lot of money. So Eleanor's mother, that's Leota, had to go and start working, which wasn't common in those days, in the 1940s, for a lot of women. So in her mind, she thought that because her mom was never at home, she had abandoned them. But the truth was that because they had lost their home and they had to move in with their grandparents, that is Leota's in-laws, she was the only one working. She had to bring in income. Her husband became an alcoholic because of the trauma of the war, PTSD or post-traumatic stress syndrome. That's what he had, and he was never treated for it, and all those kind of things. So that was the bridge of the beginning of the resentment, and it was fueled by Eleanor's grandmother, being that she never understood the fact that Eleanor had to work to bring in money. She always thought that women are supposed to stay at home, the husbands are supposed to be ones working. So she thought that this girl was disrespecting her husband as at that time. So that was what caused the rift between them. But the fact that her daughter was so naive as not to understand that this was what was going on, and she couldn't even give her mother the benefit of the doubt. It was later on in the end, towards the end of the book, when she found out that this was what her mother sacrificed for her family and for her in-laws also, that she started feeling some sense of guilt towards what she had done to her own mother throughout the entire years. Now, when Eleanor got when Leota got sick and she was being taken care of by Annie, she later had what will I call it? She later had another episode of either stroke or a heart attack, but I'm not really sure because they didn't clearly state it in the book. But I think it was another stroke that she had. So she landed in the hospital again, and that was when Nora realized that her mother was going to die, and she raced to the hospital to try to mend the broken bridge between them. But that is where this controversial matter of killing their parents, younger people trying to kill, like, will I call it kill now, or in the sense of they are showing their parents mercy and they kind of give them overdoses of drugs to help them to pass away. So a medical technician who was working at the hospital saw the condition in which Leota was in, and without her permission or the family's permission, he went and gave her an overdose of a particular drug which caused her to die. And that was before Nora was able to get to the hospital. When she got to the hospital and found out her mother had passed, she cried because she now understood everything that her mother had gone through for them, and then the fact that she could never get that time back with her mother, she could never ask for her mother's forgiveness. It really tore her, it really broke her, and it showed, because later on at the end of the book, when Annie decided to open her grandmother's house and garden to people to just come and have a good time and relax and have good conversation with people, she realized that that garden was her mother's healing place from all the trauma that she had faced in life. And it gave her a new perspective on how to treat her own children and be respectful of Annie and her decisions. So now, as pertaining to Annie's love life, just because she was satisfied with where she was and because she was beginning to know God more, she wasn't really interested, despite the fact that she had advances from Sam and Coban. So the lessons that we draw from this is that life is precious, so we shouldn't make it into a choice whether we should kill somebody or not kill somebody. It is a very controversial matter. Thank God it's not legal in Nigeria, but in many countries in the West it is legal, and a lot of children, when they can't bear the burden anymore, they kill their parents or show them mercy, as their own language will say now. So I know sometimes we use language to cover up so many evils that are done in the society, but the truth must be told. Life is not whether you choose it or not. It has been given to you by God, and it is precious, and we are supposed to make the most of it. So you don't have the right to kill anybody, whether with their permission or not their permission. So this book, I will give this book a review of 8 out of 10, just because the words that I used here are for a more matured mind. I really hope you liked this video. Please subscribe and like and comment down below. Thank you so much for the support. Till next week. Bye.